Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic afternoon. I cannot complain here in Destin, Florida. It has been gorgeous, and I am literally on my way back up to the house to get some family at the Destin house, cleaning up. We're trying to get that one cleaned up. Kids came down to swim today, so that was pretty good. Hey, I want to talk to you about the 7 irrefutable laws of life. You know, as I look at everything that we're going through, focusing in on just what the craziness has been lately and everything that has us all jamming out in different ways, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna pull out something that I've coached on because it'll probably help me more than it would help anybody else that would be hanging out and listening today. So we're just jump into this as I head on back to the house. Number 1, make peace with your past. You know, so many times we beat ourselves up mentally, we beat ourselves up physically, you know, looking at our past and wondering what could we have done different, what should we have done different, what could we have done better. You've got to let your past go. You can't change anything that's happened, period. All you can do is move forward from there. And it's not about not accepting it, it's about forgiving yourself. So many times we do things, and they don't have to be like major sins or anything like that. They can just literally be mistakes we've made, failures we have, and we internalize this, and we make it feel like we have failed versus we had a failure. And I think that's what we have to do. You can't shame yourself, and you can't allow others to shame you because you have a past that may not be like theirs. So number 1, you've got to make peace with your past. You've got to move on. Number 2, and this is a big one. What others think about you isn't any of your business. One of the biggest downsides of social media is the fact that people are worried about what everybody else thinks about them, and you got to let that crap go. I spent probably half of my adult life worried about what other people thought, worried about what they thought about my kids, what they thought about my wife, what they thought about my mother, my father, my background, all this crap. Look, it is none of your business what somebody else thinks about you, period. Number 3, time heals just about everything. I used to think that time healed everything, but it doesn't. There are some people that are just more mixed up than we are, and they will hold on to a grudge, they will hold on to vengeance, they'll hold on to something, so you can't fix that. And that goes back to number 2, it's none of your business what they think about you. But most of the time will heal just about everything. I've got a good friend of mine and a client, and I have watched him over the years go through all kinds of business dealing. Sometimes he's won, sometimes he's lost, but he always does his best to let the time heal and then to make amends with whoever he was in a battle with. And actually right now he's actually in business with a guy that he'd beaten in court 1 year, and a few years later they became business partners. And to me, that's just phenomenal. That's what it's all about. Number 4, no one is in charge of your happiness but you. You know, in America, we have the right to pursue happiness, but yet so many times we allow circumstances, we allow people to determine our happiness, and you can't do that. You got to dig deep. You got to figure out what your purpose is in life, and I'm talking about every area of life. Okay, not just business, but your personal life and everything. You cannot let other people dictate your happiness. And a lot of times, here's what you will hear from people. Well, if you're not happy, then ... And it's like, usually that's them saying they're not happy. What you've got to do is realize that your happiness, your joy, whatever you call it, that's internal. That comes from how you will accept the current situations in your life. It's how you accept your past. It's what you expect and the excitement of what the future is going to be. And these are irrefutable rules. Nothing's going to change this. This is how life is. And you've got to rock this stuff out, because if you don't, the opposite of what I'm telling you means that you're a puppet. Means that you're letting the circumstances, you're letting people, you're letting your past dictate where you're going and what you're doing. And I know that none of us want to do that. I mean, that's not what this is about. Number 5, don't compare your life to anyone else. And don't judge anyone else based on what you see. I talked about this a few weeks ago. We want to judge people based on their actions, but we want to be judged based on our intentions. And what you need to do is just not judge anybody that way. And I'm not saying that there's not evil people out there. I'm not saying there's not evil situations out there. What I'm saying is you just need to create your life, not compare your life to anyone else. If you're out there creating life, if you're out there focused on your happiness, if you're focused on where you're going in the future, if you're focused on all these laws, then what's going to happen is you're not going to have time to deal with everybody else. So you're not going to have to stress out on this crap. And yet that's what I see a lot of times in social media, is that we start to freak out on all this stuff. People just get us all nutty and all crazy, and you can't allow that crap to happen. Okay, it's kind of like the old Andy Griffith show where Aunt Bee and her buddy was always gossiping about the town. That's all you see a lot on social media is gossip, 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 rumors, rumors, rumors. You know, I got some phone calls today from some people saying, oh my gosh, you should have heard about so-and-so. It's like, dude, does that really affect your life? Why are you taking one person's story without calling the other person and finding out what their side is? And I mean, you just can't do that. So stop comparing your life to everyone else. And stop judging people based on stuff that you don't have a clue about, because you really don't know what they just went through in life. I remember he told me once, and I couldn't tell you who told me. Might have been Richard Brooke, could have been Tom Chenault, Doug Fireball, I don't know, somebody. But talked about a dad on a train, and he had these 3 little kids with him. And those kids were just running all over the train, jumping on top of people, just acting crazy. And the dad was just sitting there with his head in his hands. And finally, so lady got a little bit ticked off and said, hey, you, the father of these kids, why don't you take control of them, tell them to sit down and stop acting so wild? The dad looked up at her with bloodshot eyes. She thought he was drunk. And he said, I am so sorry, ma'am. He goes, we just left the hospital where their mother had died. Kind of changes the perspective, doesn't it? See, we don't know what other people are going through, so we shouldn't be judging them without fully understanding it. If we just take care of our life, if we go out there and don't worry about comparing our life to other people, don't worry about sound bites on Facebook, don't worry about all the income crap, the bling, and all this stuff makes it look like everybody's just living the high life. You just go focus on where you're going right now, especially in this COVID-19 situation. You know, if you take these 7 irrefutable laws of life and you focus on them, you're going to find out that, man, you got a lot of stuff to write about, a lot of stuff to be happy about. Number 6, you need to stop thinking so much the wrong thoughts. And a lot of times what we do is we have become programmed. A lot of this, I'm not going to go into this on this one. We're going to do this in a workshop here probably later in the year. But what happens is you can't be going back and thinking negative, critical thoughts about yourself all the time. And that's what we usually do. Based on the way we were brought up, based on the rejection that we've had in life, based on the trauma, whether that's a big T or a small T trauma, based on shame that we hold inside. This is men and women, it doesn't matter. We tend to think the wrong thoughts. And by doing that, we create ourselves a hurricane where we're just spinning around and around and around, and we're never getting out of it. As soon as we think we're getting out of it, we get whipped back into it. And if you use the first 5 laws to apply to the 6th one of stop thinking negative thoughts about yourself, all of a sudden you start to find out, wow, I'm actually thinking myself better. In the spiritual world, we call these agreements. We make agreements with ourselves. Psychology does the same thing. They say, why are you making this agreement with yourself? Why are you saying you're stupid? Why are you saying you're a failure? Why are you saying you're XYZ, whatever it is? Okay, when you stop doing that, you'll move forward. One of the things I did a few years ago, and you guys, anybody that's followed me knows I'm pretty vocal with my faith. Inside the Christian community, a lot of times, it's one of the most unresourceful sayings that is used is, well, I'm a sinner saved by grace. I'm just a sinner saved by grace. And I got to thinking about that one day and started reading in my Bible, and the Bible told me that actually I'm a new person. I'm not a sinner anymore. And don't get me wrong here, I still sin all the time. But I'm a saint that sins. I'm not a sinner that's saved. There's a big difference there. Words are the same. I've been saved. I've got the grace of the Lord on me. But all of a sudden you start to realize, wow, if I really have a renewed mind, if I really am an heir to the throne of Christ, if that's what you believe, you got to stop filling your head with all this crap. I'm a sinner. Well, you'll probably be sinning for the rest of your life, but you need to claim, hey, you know what? I'm a saint. I'm going to rock this thing forward. Start living a little higher standards. And that's what I mean when I say stop thinking so much, all these critical thoughts. And number 7, and I screw this one up all the time, okay? My girls will tell you this, okay? You need to smile more. Okay, we go around in life stressed out, frustrated, pissed off. You know, at the drop of a hat, you know, we become like this moody, I'm just going to bite everybody. Man, we need to smile more. You know, if you smile, life looks a little bit different. And I challenge you to do that, okay? That will change the perspective of no matter what you're going through. Matter of fact, I would challenge you, if you're getting in the middle of an argument somewhere, try it one time. Right in the middle, right when they're calling you, you mother, blah, 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 you just smile real big at them. See what happens. Okay? Happens all the time. Matter of fact, if you ladies, you husbands, you know, you're starting to get into a drag down, knockout. Y'all been wrapped up for 6 weeks. You know, you've played every game you could play. You've made love every direction you can. The wine's gone. You're frustrated. Next time you start to get snipping at each other, just smile real big. See what happens. I'm telling you, it works. Plain and simple. 7 irrefutable laws of life. Make peace with your past. What others think about you is none of your business. Time heals almost everything. No one is in charge of your happiness but you. Don't compare your life to anyone else's, and don't judge other people because you don't know what they're going through. Stop thinking critical thoughts about yourself so much and smile real big. And I tell you what, your day's going to get a whole lot better, without a doubt. Guys, stay positive, stay strong, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, more than likely. Have a great afternoon.